Hey everyone, I've been on the hunt for a little while for a Splitboard specific soft boot that I could use for backcountry touring on my Splitboard as well as for the occasional resort day. And so I found these 5 options online and figured I'd go through a brief review of pros and cons of each as well as which one that I'm going to be moving forward with. So I have the Burton Tourist, the K2 Waive, the Nitro Vertical TLS Plus, the ThirtyTwo Focus BOA Sweetin, and then the ThirtyTwo TM-2 Jones. And let's start by talking about one of the most important things when it comes to boots, which is the weight. And from lightest to heaviest, we got the Tourist coming in at about 1,030 grams, followed by both the K2 Waive as well as the ThirtyTwo Sweetin. Both of these guys are at 1,160 grams. And then the Jones TM-2 at, 1,190, so just a little bit heavier than the Waive and the Sweetin. And then the heaviest on the list is the Nitro Vertical, coming in at 1,300 or 1,320 grams. So lightest, heaviest, and then somewhere in between for the K2 and 32 boots. When it comes to stiffness, I found, at least out of the box, this is just from wearing these around the house, trying them out, the Burton Tourist was the softest of the bunch, followed closely by the Jones 32 TM. And then after that, I found the K2 Waive was a bit of a step up in stiffness, but not as stiff as the top two, which were the 32 Sweetin boot and then the Nitro Vertical. I found that the Nitro Vertical was definitely the stiffest, followed by the Sweetin. So softest boot was the Tourist, stiffest boot was the Nitro Vertical. Now, a few of these boots I was able to kind of toss out of the running right away. A couple things that I was looking for a Splitboard boot was some sort of gaiter system that keeps the snow out. I found that I get a ton of snow in my boot when I'm out touring or when I'm at the resort. So I wanted to try out a gaiter to see if that worked. And then I was also looking for a crampon compatible heel. And all these boots are crampon compatible, semi-automatic, and I've tested them all with my Gravel G12 with the semi-auto attachment on the back, and they all fit. So those are my kind of 2 stipulations. But 2 of these boots I was able to kind of knock out right from the beginning. The first one I'll start with that just isn't gonna work for me, make some room here, was the Burton Tourist. Partially because it was quite soft. It was a little too soft for what I was looking for. Secondly, it didn't really have a gaiter or any way to protect from snow entry. It does have a crampon compatible heel, which is good. It's got a pretty small footprint. It's pretty narrow, which is great because when you're out climbing or billy goating, you don't want something super fat underfoot. It's got a bit of an interesting lacing system, but I found that it worked all right, at least for me. But yeah, the big thing was no gaiter, pretty soft boot. And then the other thing I noticed about is that there's really no split specific features when it comes to walk. There's no dedicated walk mode, there's no power strap, there's no feature on the back that allows you to get longer strides. So it's really kind of a basic boot. Does have crampon compatible heel, which is great, but I would characterize it as kind of an intro to touring boot, but it is quite light. So this one wasn't gonna work for me. The second one that I was able to kind of toss out right away was the ThirtyTwo Jones boot. And a couple reasons. One was that I felt a lot of top of foot pressure, like the boot is just really tight on top of my feet and kind of created some pressure there. And so if a boot doesn't fit, it's not going to work anyway. So that was a big reason. It does have a lot of pluses. It does have crampon compatible heel. It's got a Vibram outsole. It does have a power strap, which is great, so that you can really cinch it down. I know everybody is a little bit different, but me personally, I'm not a huge fan of laces. I just found that it was difficult for me to really get this boot tight, as opposed to something like a BOA system or some other systems where I can really crank it down. The laces, I had a hard time really getting them tight. It does have a gaiter, which is great. It's quite burly. It's not the stiffest boot, but not the softest. It looks really well built. So it's got a lot of positives about it. The big thing for me was that it just didn't fit all that well for me. And then also, I'm just not a fan of laces. I know BOA can fail out in the field, but for me, I've never had any issues with them. I've been on a Burton Photon for 4 years and never had any issues with those BOA. The other thing I should mention about all these boots is all of them were size 9.5. That's my snowboarding boot size, US men's 9.5, and they all fit well for me. There was really no issue with this one. The Burton fit great. The Waive, I would say, was a little bit looser. You know, if it would still be the right size for me, but just felt a little looser in comparison to the other ones. And then the Nitro Vertical was definitely the tightest. So when it comes to variability within 9.5 sizing, they were all about within range, but the Waive was a little bit looser, the Vertical was a little bit tighter, and then the rest were about what I would expect. So back to the Jones. Yeah, it just didn't work for me. It's got a lot of great features. I like the power strap. I like the construction. It looks burly. It looks durable. It's not too heavy. But for me, the fit and just not able to cinch it down and get it tight enough was what took it out of the running for me. So that kind of left these three options, which were the K2 Waive, the Nitro Vertical, and the ThirtyTwo Sweetin boot. Let's talk about the K2 Waive. Really great boot. I almost selected this one for my touring boot. Has a lot of great features. Has a Michelin outsole. Oh, sorry, Vibram outsole. Has crampon compatible heel. It has an integrated gaiter. It's a little bit of an interesting construction on the gaiter. You kind of have to undo 2 Velcros and then it opens up. So a bit odd there. I don't know why they didn't just go with the zipper, but not too bad. It does have laces, and you can either set up the laces to go around so that they fall out each time, or you can set them up to go through the actual holes so that they stay connected. If we open up the boot, you do have a power strap, which is good, great for touring, great for, you know, changing the stiffness of the boot when you're either going uphill or going downhill. So that was great. Pretty easy to use, easy to take out. And then on the inside of the boot, you've got your sort of standard liner. It's an Intuition liner. And then you've got a Burton actuated, or sorry, a BOA actuated really support piece that is for the front of your ankle. And so you can loosen this and tighten this. So if I undo the BOA, I can pull that out. And then when I pull that out, not only does it release that, but it also releases a piece in the back that allows the back of the boot to be looser. And so this is meant to give you more stride, be comfortable touring when you're going uphill. So I like that they have those features that are specifically built for touring in this boot. And, you know, I like the BOA, as you guys probably can already tell. So I like that I can just tighten that up and or loosen it up depending on whether I'm going up or down. And then, you know, be ready for my climb or my descent. As I mentioned before, it's a fairly stiff boot, you know, medium stiff. It's a little bit on the larger size when it comes to sizing. And then one thing to take note of when it comes to sizing is the footprint of it. It's definitely got the biggest width footprint of any of these boots that I've talked about. And it had the most trouble with installing my semi-auto crampons on this one because it's so wide up here in the toes. I was able to get it installed and it worked fine, but just something to take note of, that when you put this on and you look at your feet, you're not going to think, wow, this is a really compact, slim boot. It's quite wide, especially in the toes, but really comfortable overall. Had a lot of great features. For me, why I didn't select this boot was partially because of the lacing. It just takes so long to put this boot on and take it off, because you have to open this up, you have to get some room in your laces, you have to open everything on the inside up, then you put the boot on, then you have to tighten the laces, then you have to do the power strap, then you have to do the BOA, then you have to do, it's just step after step after step, takes so long and is so complicated for something that I didn't feel like really increased the fit all that much. I do like that it has the Splitboard touring specific features. That's great. But yeah, because of the complicated of putting it on and taking it off, and because of the wide toe box and the semi-loose fit that at least I had, this one wasn't for me. So great boot, a lot of good things, but maybe it worked for you, it just didn't work for me. So that left the Nitro Vertical and the BOA, or the 32 Sweetin. So let's talk first about the Sweetin. So it has double BOA. Thank the Lord, this is what I'm looking for, right? So it's got that, and so it's easy to get on and off. It also comes with a couple little extra features. It has insertable arch supports, so you can modify that if you're looking for that. The original one fit great for me, so I didn't have to really mess with it. It does have a gaiter that's easy, really easy to use. You just zip it up and then pop it in, and you're good there. It does have a semi-auto crampon heel. This one is the one that had the Michelin outsole, pretty grippy, and it's got a lot slimmer profile than the K2 Waive, so I like that about it. Looks durable construction, not a lot of features that can get caught or snag, pretty sleek looking, so that was good. If we open it up and look at the internals of it, so I should open that. It's your pretty standard double BOA system. It's got the liner, again, an Intuition liner. Pull the straps, it gets tight. I do like the Velcro strap that 32 has. This one is both on this boot as well as on the Jones boot. That one, it just works well for me, but the liner is not a make or break. The Velcro on the liner isn't gonna sell me on the boot, but I do like that. Did want to call that out. In terms of stiffness, this is the second stiffness behind the Vertical, so definitely a stiff boot, at least out of the box. You can really crank down that BOA and tighten that up good. The downside of this boot is that there aren't really any split touring specific features. There's no stride feature, there's no power strap, there's none of that to allow you to be more efficient on the uphill. It's kind of like a resort boot that is pretty stiff, that they added a crampon compatible heel. So this is, I think, is a great option if you kind of want to split resort and split backcountry touring. Maybe you're looking for that first kind of touring boot and you like stiff boots. This one fit great, it was comfortable, stiff. It had everything I wanted. It just, it didn't have any split specific features that I was looking for. But it was a really good boot. Not the heaviest, it's actually one of the lighter boots. Again, at only 1,160 grams, stiff boot. It's a great option. I really liked it, so this would be my number 2. So then, not surprisingly, the number 1 on my list was the Nitro Vertical, and this is actually the boot that I ended up going with. I just actually used it for the first time today. Definitely a stiff boot, and really comfortable, really liked it. So let's talk about it. So this one is definitely, I think, the most unique of the bunch because it has so many unique features. It does have your standard features that I was looking for. So it's got a gaiter that, again, looks durable. I like that the zipper's easy. No snow is gonna get in there. It's got a crampon compatible heel. And it also has a Vibram Mega Grip outsole with Arctic grip. So I did a little research on these guys, and they're actually glass shards that are integrated into the rubber to help grip on ice. And these things are definitely grippy. This is the grippiest outsole of the bunch here. So if you are just looking for hiking on snow and ice, this would be the outsole that I would go with if I was out, hiking around in the snow. But the Vertical also has a lot of, again, unique features. Oh, one thing I also did want to talk about is the profile of the boot. It's very slim on the toes. So similar to the Sweetin boot, this boot is also very slim, very low profile. So it makes it really easy to put crampons on and off. Also makes it really easy to shove your foot in tight spaces if you're out, scrambling around on rocks and ice. So that's a benefit as well. Now let's talk about the unique features of this boot. So first of all, one thing I just noticed today was that there's actually a little gap here, and this is sewn in, and that's meant to hold your gaiter on your snow pants. So learned that today, but that I liked. The other thing that is unique is that it's hard to see, you see that little end, there's actually a stiffener within the boot. And so it comes with a medium stiffener and then comes in the box with even stiffer ones. So say the boot is starting to pack out over time, or you're just looking for a really, really stiff boot, you can go even stiffer with these guys. So I thought that was a great unique feature of the boot. The second unique feature is the lacing system. And it took a bit of getting used to, but this TLS Plus or twin lacing system is similar to the Burton system, where you have these straps that you loosen or tighten and you just kind of pull them out, and then now that's loose, right? And so then you can open the boot. And same thing, it has an upper and a lower section. Oops, sorry. So this is the downside of the system, is you got a lot of strings, but so you can loosen the lower, pop that, and now my system is fully loose. And then also on the inside, you have a unique system where you don't really have a cinch system that you pull down. You just use really friction by pulling the straps and then locking them within a little design on the inside of the shell or on the inside of the liner. So I really like that too. I've never been a fan of the ones that you kind of pull and cinch. I'm never sure if they're actually stuck or not. So I like that system. So that was unique. And then when it comes to split specific features, the unique part is that you have this shell on the back of the boot. If you can see that, but it's loose right now. And so in theory, you can get a little more stride because this can push back. And then when you're ready to go downhill, find your straps, you can just pull that tight. And then now I can't pull that, right? And I've noticed that when I do these up tight, it really pulls from both sides to cinch in on my foot. And it just feels really comfortable, to be honest. It feels like I'm super locked in, and I enjoy the feeling of it. These boots for me were definitely the most comfortable. They were the tightest of all the 5 that I've talked about, but they were the most comfortable to wear for me. And so that's partly because of that cinching system. I kind of keep the lower ones pretty loose and just cinch the top ones. And then, when you're done with these, they're pretty easy to just kind of tuck away in these little side pockets they give you. And I, just kind of put the straps wherever. You can keep those out, you can tuck them in, doesn't really matter. So a lot of positives to this boot, and I guess it's really the unique features that sold me on it. It is a Splitboard specific boot. It has the crampon compatibility, has the gaiter, has the really low profile, outsole look, shape here, has the Vibram Arctic grip. The downside is, it's also stiff, super stiff, which I was looking for. A lot of lateral stability. You've got a plastic piece here on the back to give you even more stiffness. Biggest downside is definitely the weight. This one is 1,320 grams. So compared to like the Sweetin, which I almost went with, it's over 100 grams heavier. About 150 grams actually. So definitely a heavier boot. That's the biggest downside of it. If it weighed the same as this one, it would be a no-brainer for me. But because this one was more comfortable and because it was stiffer, and I'm hoping that maybe it'll last a little bit longer because I can put these stiffeners in, that's what really sold me on it. I've heard pros and cons of this lacing system. Maybe it's not always the most durable. I don't know, you know, time will tell for me. I'm hoping that they've got it figured out. I certainly don't mind it now, or at least after a first ride. Works well for me, but time will tell on that lacing system. But if I wasn't gonna go with the Nitro, definitely the Sweetin would be good, or also the K2 Waive. So that's a kind of a brief review of some of the Splitboard boots that I've tried. I went with the vertical because of the features I talked about, but any of these three are great options. And then if you're looking for a lace specific boot, the Jones boot would be a good one, or maybe you're looking for your sort of first touring boot, and the Burton Tourist would be another good option as well. So happy to answer any questions in the comments, and yeah, thanks for watching.